Thank you for tuning in to Behind Marketing Lines. I'm your host Zishan, and today my guest is Dharmendra Mehta. Dharam, good to see you behind Marketing Lines.
It's good to be here. Thank you for having me, Z. Been a fan of the work you do, and I'm glad you gave me an opportunity to speak to you. Thank you.
No, it's an honor for me that you have graced behind Marketing Lines because usually you're on the other side of the mic.
Yes, I think recently I moved to the other side of the mic. For the last year or so, I've been hosting a podcast myself. So we're in the same shoes, but I think really admire what you're doing. There's so much to learn from you. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today.
Appreciate it. For me, I think it was difficult to take a start. I mean, you're doing great work and I really take inspiration from it. For me, I wanted to do it since 2020, I believe. I bought all the equipment and then I didn't have the courage to face the camera because I was always on the other side where our good friend is sitting, making sure that, people show up and we record them and then we get it edited and then we get it published and make sure it goes viral or whatever. But since I started doing this, I felt the heat at the beginning. I was like, okay, what am I doing?
No, you're doing a fantastic job, Z. I think sheer number of outputs that you're bringing out and the variety of people you speak to, the width of topics you cover is incredible. I think it takes a lot to even put together all that information, knowledge for yourself to then be able to kind of communicate effectively with such a large audience. Great work, I think. I really admire what you do, and I'm sure this is going to just scale up from here on. So wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much. Coming from you, I really appreciate it.
I mean it, see.
I think we'll head straight to our pet question. What if your life was a Netflix movie? So what is it called and what's the opening scene like?
I'm the wrong person to get started on a movie line because as a child I wanted to be an actor.
Is it so?
So you're kind of probably opening a can of worms, but great question. If my life was a Netflix movie, it would probably start off with a very modern backdrop of Burj Khalifa with a heli taxi landing onto a skyscraper, and then you feet first, somebody exits that, and then the camera pans from behind and comes over the shoulders, and then this person looks back and says, "Welcome to the past." And probably it'd be called something like Back to the Past or Back to the Future, but something about saying that the moment you've actually lived is now past. And then you just need to live for the future. So I can see the title starting up and the Tom Cruise music going ta 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 ta, something like that probably.
Interesting. So not like Hrithik Roshan, or I think it was Shah Rukh Khan in Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gham. As soon as he lands from the heli, he starts running towards his mom.
Yeah, possibly, but not so Bollywoodish, but maybe more inspiring from a future perspective. But yeah,
perfect. And what if your life was a book? What's the title and which chapter are we at?
I think it's probably called The Knowledge of Abundance or The Belief of Abundance. I think that's something that it would be. And it comes from another book called Abundance that I read about 10 years ago. And then that was my life-changing moment, right? So most of us have always lived believing that you need to save for the future. The earth doesn't have enough resources, but abundance actually flips it over and tells you about how the earth actually takes care of itself, nature takes care of itself. And therefore, when we put that thought behind us and say now from wherever humanity has reached and whatever technology is happening is bringing in today, I think the quantum leaps that we're going to take from here on is only so much more. So it's kind of taken away that entire inhibition of the future from my mind. So all of us, saving is a great virtue, but when it becomes a social vice, and everyone's saving, no one's spending, right? So that kind of an attitude starts coming in, and then you start thinking of things of how you can actually add more value to the ecosystem you're in. And probably I've reached only halfway through where we want to be. Maybe the next decade is the most exciting part of life, and I'm really looking forward to it. So from a book perspective, probably you're in chapter 3 and this has 10 chapters, so there's still a lot to do.
Interesting. So the book Abundance that you mentioned, tell me a little bit more about it. I'm going to definitely go and buy it and read it.
Let me gift it to you. I think what I do is usually some of these books I would really like to share with my friends, and I'd love to gift you one. So let me get that one organized for you.
Awesome. I have another list as well, and iPhone 17 is on it too.
You need to be my girlfriend to get that. I hope my wife doesn't see the podcast. No, but I think, but jokes apart, I think the book is all about, this entire theory of how the world has always been starved And we always have for centuries been thinking about, how the world is going to end, and there's going to be, different ways of it ending. It could be through pollution, the way we are polluting. I'm not saying any of that is wrong. That is all correct. That is the information. But when you take a step back and you zoom out and you look at how civilizations have survived, thrived, and where we are today and what we have today in terms of technology is something that we've never had before. So this entire impetus of AI and the way quantum physics is now taking us to the next level. So, and that is the opportunity of not just the Earth being our home, but maybe another planet. And with that entire positive information and the amount of work that's going into healthcare, for example, today our longevity, maybe 100 years ago, our grandfathers probably lived healthily till about 50, 60, 65. But today, my parents lived healthily till mid 80s. And I think the opportunity for our generations is to be healthier beyond the 90s as well. Recently, there was this conversation that people are talking about between President Putin and the Chinese premier,
I've
right?
heard
Talking
that.
about longevity and how you could live beyond 100 years. But that really seems to be happening. And Abundance is a book about all this. And it's changed my perspective completely from, enjoying tidbits in news about, doomsday conspiracies to now I really believe that the world is ready to actually allow global citizens to, have the opportunity to build far more than what we've already built so far.
That's interesting. And when you mention about longevity and all, I mean, then there is another perspective as well. I was at an event yesterday, and three of us had already had surgeries, right? And interestingly, back surgeries, and all because of the posture that we have. So we have a very sedentary lifestyle, all of
Right.
most of us,
Right.
right? But it's good to see that there is positivity out there, and then there is hope. I am going to definitely read that book and see if it can change my
I'll have it sent
perspective.
over to you.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. I'm sure there is a different version of Dharam that we see from the LinkedIn version of Dharam. So, how did you get into marketing and sales and e-commerce? I mean, was that all planned? Did you study for it, or what's your origin story?
When you look at it in a flashback, it looks all as if it was planned, but it's a mix of taking the right opportunities at the right time. So I think backstory was born and raised in Mumbai to very strict army parents, and now when I look back at it, probably it was a blessing to be born and raised in Mumbai in the mid 80s and early 90s because it gave us so many more opportunities to learn, and it gave us a head start in that sense. Mid 90s, India was opening up as an economy. There was lots happening as international business was growing. So I chose that as a career path. I did my management in international business, got recruited into a textile company as a management trainee. And then for the first decade, I was doing international business. So I worked for this textile company where I was an exports manager, but I was essentially a salesman taking samples of garments and fabrics, going world over and selling it to brands from DKNY to Marks and Spencer to in Australia, New Zealand, all these countries, right? As I've started working on it, I had the opportunity to at some point work with US retailers like Macy's, etc. And that world really started fascinating me, saying how does a retail operations in the early 2000s, where they're actually placing orders with factories for products that are going to hit their stores 12 or 18 months later, but it is planned to the T that their store in Nevada is going to get these 5 sets of SKUs 12 months later or 18 months later. That entire planning process really brought me closer to understanding how retail works. And then I started planning of how do I progress from my exports role. I was doing fairly well, but if I have to challenge myself and say how do I make myself more relevant over the next 10 years, then retail was the answer. And retail was booming in India at the time. So early 2000s, and I had again fortunately an opportunity to move to a large format retail brand called Central, which is like a Robinson's kind of a departmental store.
Right.
Had the opportunity to build that business, So we were 3 centrals when I joined, and we were 30 centrals when I left.
Interesting.
What retail did for me was gave me a all-rounded experience of how businesses are run. So as a store head or a center head, we had the entire P&L of the place to run, which meant people, which meant product, which meant taking care of marketing, activation for your micro market, and that gave me like an all-rounded exposure. And cut to 2011, 2012 when e-commerce was booming in India, and I wanted that to be the big thing. And how do I keep myself relevant? And so had the opportunity to work with Flipkart, which was India's largest e-commerce company, and
Right.
started off doing various roles. Started off with fashion, moved to marketplace, was chief of staff for a short while, and then managed logistics business. And that was a turning point in my life. So how technology can change everything from not just shift the gear, but actually change the paradigm. And we saw that happen in motion. So was very fortunate to do that. Sometime late 2017, had an opportunity to come back into the UAE. I always thought about the UAE as a tourist destination and a holiday place. But that one trip, when I was shown around by a VC firm who approached me to kind of be with their portfolio companies, came in here, saw the market, and I saw the potential. And ever since I've been here, done various roles. I think, funnily, in India, I had 3 roles in 20 years. Here, I've had 5 roles in 8 years. so,
Interesting.
so interesting. But I think a large part of it is we conveniently blame it onto the pandemic. So the pandemic caused us to close down the business that I was heading, and then moved back to retail, which was brass tacks, go back to core strengths. Did that for a couple of years, and for the last 1 year or so, I've been part of another exciting opportunity, an AI native retail technology company called Find. And
Right.
our purpose is to build unified commerce solutions and experiences for customers. So, and that is like now a key part of life. I'm really focused on helping build the brand in the region, and that's how the entire evolution of Dharam as the person has happened. You
Right.
can't keep the LinkedIn out of me because work defines who we are, and that's how life has been.
Interesting. So apart from Find, what's keeping you exciting today?
So I think along with finance, what we've done is been able to merge a lot of my personal aspirations with the role itself.
Interesting.
So I've always wanted to build an ecosystem where people can come and share knowledge. And that's where we started building Retail Remakes, which is the community. That also came as part of a conversation that I was having with the Find team even before we decided that we could work together. While a lot of the products we sell today are retail focused, but those use cases are industry agnostic. Those can be applied to diverse fields, right from supply chain to education to healthcare. And that's the way we want to look at it. One big reason for us to be in the UAE is the UAE vision for AI 2031 and the entire digital economy impetus that is there from the government. So we see ourselves as being a large part of that knowledge base that is getting created, and we want to kind of contribute to that as well. So largely, we'd want to see us as being thought leaders working with both government and private entities and building out the entire AI/digital ecosystem in the region.
That's interesting. And are there any challenges that you're facing today that keeps you awake at night?
I've learned to sleep with most problems.
Okay.
With every challenge, we also see an opportunity open up. Of course, there is challenges around being new in the market. We're not known. We do so many things that a lot of times we get confused with what all do you do. But essentially, if you look at us, we are a single stop solutions company for anybody in the retail and slash e-commerce space, right? A lot of investment has gone into the region over the last 2 decades in terms of technology, and nobody wants to give up on what they've already invested, but they want to sit on top of what they've already built. So I think those are some areas where we find challenges, but I think we now in the last 1 year have probably been able to get between 15 to 20 good logos and brands that we are working with, and that's giving us the opportunity to now talk to more people and then scale it up.
You're doing a lot of things. I mean, you've accomplished a lot. And today, if we were to look at a day in your life, you're a family man, you have a full-time job, you run a podcast as well. How do you do all this? If we were to look at your day, how does it start and how does it end, and how do you keep up with everything that you're doing?
Yeah, I think basically it just boils down to the basic philosophy of when you do what you love, I think everything else falls in place. I'm very fortunate to have a very supportive family. My wife is extremely supportive of all the decisions that I've made. When I spoke to you about this entire journey of moving from exports to retail to e-commerce, she has had frightening nights saying, "What are you doing? You're at the peak of your career in retail and you want to leave it and go to some startup doing something." And then even when we came here, it was, why do you want to leave home and go to Dubai? And then she's had these times, but that unwavering support saying, okay, you think this is best for you, let's do this. I love going to retail stores. I love talking to people. and I love building community. So I think when you're doing all of this together, you don't worry about when you sleep, when you're awake.
100%. Well, thank you for saying that. I think, and the crux is you need to love what you do, otherwise, there is no point doing it.
Oh yes,
Right.
yes, and you do this very well too, Z. I think I always
I
admire
try
you
to.
for the amount of effort you put in. There have been days when I've seen you be there at 7 a.m. and then at 6 p.m. and always be around and make sure that you're at the place that you have to be. So
Well, I'm trying. I'm not sure how successful I am in doing that, but
no,
I'm,
you are.
I'm,
From
I'm
where I see it,
trying.
I think you are very successful
I
and you're doing a
appreciate
great
it.
job.
So, what's one lesson in life that you learned the hard way?
Oh, lots. I think the thing about lessons is you learn them only when they're the hard way. So,
That's correct.
yeah, but I think one big one was again the pandemic, right? Until then, I was working for about 20, 25 years and your career was always growing. You're always on an upward trajectory. And suddenly you hit a brick wall and you suddenly start going, down really fast. What turned out was that saying that, all the people you meet when you're going up are the people you also meet when you're going down. I
True.
think that was a very humbling experience. And it's taught me to be more humble, more approachable, more resilient, yes, but also more open to ideas, listening to what other people have to say. Because otherwise, it was always my way or the highway. But now I'm more oriented to asking people to partner with us and do things more collaboratively. It's humbled me. It's kind of also given me that opportunity to zoom out and look at larger things in life, and that really is now a big change that has come through. So any youngsters who start off, I'm sure they will all have the same energy and zeal, and they think that they are here to win the world. But if they can avoid some of the mistakes some of us made, then I think they'll become even better professionals and grow even faster. So that's something that I kind of advocate to all the young people in my family, friends.
No, 100%. And I'll second that when he said that you need to be approachable and you need to be humble. You need to have more empathy in your life. So you've worked with a lot of marketers in your life. You've been a marketer yourself too. I mean, even today, you brought a brand here in a country where it was non-existent, and now you're working on positioning it to the right audience. You're trying to, have a better brand recall for it. This is the territory which was uncharted before, and you're trying to make sure that your brand is existing here. So you're a marketer, even if your profession or your designation says managing director. So my point would be like you have worked with many marketers as well. What's one trait in marketers that you see and you're like, okay, this is the trait he or she has. They are a good marketer. And what's one thing that when you look at a marketer and they possess that particular trait, you say, oh, they are not a good marketer.
Anybody who understands the depth of their business is a great marketer. I'll give you examples, right? When we started off, a lot of the businesses that we were in, none of us were marketers. But to be able to understand your offering and then be able to communicate it to the end consumer in the simplest possible way is the way that a marketer should be thinking, right? We built a fitness business in the region called Cult Fit, and the starting point of that was we could, we had backing from VCs, we could come in, make a statement, and really make a loud entry. But we said for the first 6 months, we need to be in the micro market that we are in. So gyms work in a 5 kilometer radius. If you
True.
can't win those, then there's no point in going across the city. And then what do you need to do to activate in that market, right? So what are you going to do? You could come out with ideas which were as simple as dropping leaflets in people's homes, or you could come out with brilliant ideas saying, oh, you know what, this community has 10 trainers already living there. We'll utilize them as influencers in the region, etc. And then the amount of innovation that comes through when you have limited resources and limited budgets, I think that really is what makes a marketer shine, and how they're able to imbibe the core value of the company they are kind of showcasing, the kind of product they're showcasing, and then be able to kind of communicate. I think a big no to marketers is when they look at it top down and say, this is my campaign and here's what you need to do to make sure that it works. I think a lot of marketers that I met have been really great guys, but I've also met a few of them who think they know it all. If you were, for example, in a clothes business and you did not know how those clothes reached your stores, you will never be able to market them well. But if you spend a day or a week in a store figuring out, how things got done there, what is the challenges with the staff, what happens when a campaign goes right and people start really flocking to your stores, and you're able to build that vision, I think that's where you learn from brass tacks and then you grow along with.
So true. Why I asked the question was because a lot of marketers listen to this and a lot of aspiring marketers listen to this too. So it's important for them to understand what works and what doesn't, and what other people in the industry are thinking about it. Or you get to work with people from finance, HR. I mean, there is a marketing that you need to do out externally, then there is one that you need to do internally as well. And you need to keep your internal customers happy too.
Great point, Z. And I think one thing that I expect of marketers is that's the only department in the company that's spending money. Everyone else is earning money in that sense.
Right.
Of course, you're making an investment, you're expecting a return out of it.
Agreed.
But you're the only people who have the luxury of saying, I'm going to spend X to get X plus 10 or 2X or 3X. And that wisdom of, of having the power of knowledge and understanding that you're really here for something and you're spending out of pockets, I think that really makes a difference. It's great to go into a conversation, make presentations and say, we're going to achieve 2X, 3X, but actually understanding the value of dollars that you're spending, not just the money value that you're bringing back, but a lot of the unsaid value that comes along with marketing, right? I think when you realize all of that potential and you start working on it, I think that's really, really important.
No, 100%. And I think with all these technology tools out there, understanding the return on marketing investment is a lot easier.
Yes.
The return on advertising spend you can easily get from the platforms that you work with. And with the digital sales coming in, I think marketing is not necessarily a cost center anymore, but at times it is. When your job ends at bringing in the leads, post that, I mean, there's nothing you can do, right? Because there is then altogether a different department there to take care of those.
Right.
But when either both departments or the three departments that I usually talk about work together, not in silos, then I think, that cost is justified. Because they always say marketers have the biggest pockets, right?
Oh, yes.
And we hear that a lot. I mean, you guys are not alone. I hear that a lot too. But again, as Dharam very rightly mentioned, if your eyes are on the return on marketing investment, then I think you're all sorted. At the end of the day, everything will have, a profit or a revenue written right in front of it. That, okay, I spent 10, I brought in 1,000.
Yes.
So, thank you for bringing that up. And I think it's a very valid point.
Right.
What's one daily ritual that you don't miss and that keeps you going and keeps you sharp?
I think about 10 years ago, I got introduced to journaling.
Oh, okay.
And that's a ritual that I don't let go. I think every night before bed, I need to spend 10 minutes writing down. Sometimes it goes into 30 minutes and an hour, depending on how the day goes. When I started off, it was very difficult. I couldn't get thoughts. I wouldn't know what to write, but my coach told me just write whatever comes to your mind. I was able to kind of put all of that together. And I think for somebody who's starting off, it's great to put thoughts into 2 or 3 buckets. You could put them around gratitude, around what went well in your day, what didn't go well, or aspirations, dreams. You can, bucket them. And every day write about those themes. And then eventually you'll get to a stage where you are able to write more meaningfully. For me, how journaling has helped me is it's helped me bucket my own desires and, development areas. What I've realized. So being conscious of speaking publicly was something that I realized was happening to me, and then I wanted to kind of get away with it. And now today I'm also still, battling that fear, but making sure that, every time I'm up on stage, it doesn't come across as I'm conscious of what I'm saying. So I think a lot of this has come out of journaling. And it's also helped me on the personal side of things, making the right choices, right decisions of, how things should progress, etc. So I think that's one underrated tool, but journaling really helps. And anybody who's not doing it, you should definitely try it.
Awesome. Well, right there was a mini masterclass on bringing clarity to your life. So thank you. All right. I've seen you do the rapid fire questions with your guests.
Right.
So I think let's do one here.
Nice. Okay.
Perfect. So first we'll have a few questions related to marketing.
Okay.
And then personal life. I know quite a few, but I think it would be good for audience to know as well.
Cool.
So they'll know both sides of you, the professional side, the LinkedIn one, and the Instagram side
And
as
Instagram
well.
side of things. Okay.
We'll start with professional. So SEO versus paid media.
If I had to choose, I'd choose SEO, but paid media is a toll you're paying on a information highway, right? So
Thank you so much for saying that. Everybody has been saying SEO.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think,
Yeah.
thank you. I agree
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
Brand versus performance marketing,
Brand marketing for sure.
creativity or data.
Interesting one. The personal side of me says creativity, the professional side of me says data, but I think there'd be no data without creativity. Or if there wasn't creativity, you wouldn't know what to do with data. So creativity.
100%. Startup hustle or corporate,
Startup and sell.
books or podcasts?
Books.
You're a reader. You mentioned it
Yeah,
earlier,
books.
so I knew the answer.
Books, yeah.
Because whatever you're saying, we're validating as well.
Oh, yeah, of course.
we're
You're a good
using
marketer.
we're using AI to
True.
validate those answers in the real time. So whatever you're saying, it came here and it popped up. Ask him about the books and the podcasts.
Amazing. Awesome. I'd like to use that tool too.
Yeah, it's called Microsoft Word.
Okay.
Perfect. LinkedIn versus Instagram.
LinkedIn.
AI versus human intuition.
Oh, I think that's a tough one, but I think it's human intuition. Everything that we've achieved so far is ingenuity of human beings.
Global campaigns versus local activations.
I think local activations.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I
because-
thought you would say global campaigns
No, I
because
would-
mean you've been taking brands global,
Yeah,
right?
but I think you have to think global but act local.
Oh, that's a good one.
I think you get success when you do that, right? So I think when you are able to bring vision of the product that you're selling to 8 billion people, but actually then customize it to the 10 million population you're serving, then I think that really is the big challenge. So I think global, act local.
Makes sense. So for me, the key word from today's conversation is think global, act local. A good one. TikTok Reels versus TV ads.
TV ads, do they exist?
A lot of companies are still spending a lot of money on TV ads.
Yeah, but I think it's become more inclined to events like sports events, etc. Probably goes back to the same question of brand marketing versus performance. I think it's about where your customers are, and depending on what your customers want, I think you'll have to be there. A lot of us don't want to be in channels that don't make sense from an ROI perspective, etc. But if your customer's there, then you have to be there. So I think both probably is the answer.
Makes sense. Risk taking or playing it safe.
Risk taking. No risk, no reward.
Working from office or remote working.
Office.
Customer first or product first.
Customer first.
Now on the personal lines, I think I know the answer, but coffee or tea.
Tea. Yeah, for sure tea.
And early mornings or late nights.
Early mornings.
What time do you wake up?
By 5:30.
Oh, nice. So you're part of the 5 a.m.
The
club.
5 a.m. club, yes. Again, the
Nice.
book changed my life.
Mountains or beaches?
Beaches.
I'll go back to the 5 a.m. club. It changed your life. And
Yeah.
I really admire the fact that you read the book and then it has an impact on you. I read the book and I really wanted to start waking up at 5, right? I couldn't do that until 2 years ago. It happened because my job moved to Abu Dhabi and I was supposed to wake up at 5 in the morning. So despite the fact I loved to do it, I wanted to do it, I so wanted to do it. I mean, both religiously or, personal wise, I was supposed to wake up at 5,
Right.
but I was unable to. I would always wake up at the last moment, pray, and then go back to sleep or something. But since last 2 years, I am part of the 5 a.m. club. I mean,
Amazing.
we're bros. Solo travel or group trips?
Group trips. I'm miserable when I'm alone.
Oh, is it?
I'm a people's person. I want to be around people. I want to talk to people.
Are you a minimalist or a collector?
I'm a minimalist.
Finally, city life or countryside?
City life and only Dubai.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, more city.
We're moving towards the conclusion of the session, but there's a very important question that I need to ask. So, what if your life was a marketing campaign? What's the tagline?
It would be called Why Not?
Okay.
And going back to the same conversation that I had every time when I was doing career changes, right? I got asked by all my well-wishers saying, why are you doing this? At the peak of your career, you want to change. And I would ask them the same question, why not? When you zoom out and look at life, risk versus reward, I think it's always worked that risks have given you rewards. And when they're calculated risks taken, keeping environment in mind, I think it's really helped. So, and of course, this is also inspired by Sheikh Mohammed's own philosophy of asking the question, saying, why not? Why can't we build the
Makes
biggest,
sense.
largest, tallest? And I think that inspiration also somewhere goes in, but why not would probably be a good marketing tagline for me.
Interesting. And you mentioned about your coach earlier on in the conversation. So, what's one piece of advice that you have ever received and it stick with you?
I think my father gave me to it. God bless his soul. I think he gave me this great upbringing, and he said one day to me that you'll find a substitute for everything in life, but not for hard work. So you can substitute good looks, you can substitute, intelligence with a lot of other things, but hard work you cannot substitute. So you have to put in the hours that you have to put in. You have to be dedicated, be up at the time that you have to be. You have to be, day in, day out, be present. And I've kind of now have an extended version of that I share with my, niece, nephews, children, is that all of this is going to extend to a longer period, not just, the age of 60 or 70. So you need to take care of yourself and your health till the time you get to the 90s. And we have that opportunity to be a generation that lives up to, that time. So, which means that you'll have to work for more longer than what you are. So, and you will always be known by your work. So make sure that you stay true to your profession, you give it your best, and make sure that you always get that right name for yourself and for people around you who are associated with you. It's always very easy to give into, short-term shortcuts. But when you do it the right way in the longer term, all of this really helps you, benefits you. So stick to it, stick to the routine, and no substitute for hard work.
Interesting. Well, thank you for mentioning that. I think that is going to stay with me for a very long time. There is no substitute. There is definitely no substitute for hard work. What if you were to put a billboard tomorrow on Sheikh Zayed Road? What are you going to write on it?
Just generally, or anything related
Generally,
to?
yeah, anything you would like to, put.
Please start using Find for all your technology needs. I think if I had the budget, I would definitely put Find out on Sheikh Zayed Road.
Right.
But I think jokes apart, there is so much to do and bring people in on understanding what Find does as an ecosystem. It's not just one software that we're selling; it's an entire ecosystem. And I think we need something as grand as the Sheikh Zayed Road to talk about it. So Find spelled with a Y, FYND, and why with a Y? I asked why not.
Well, it's not a funded episode, but definitely please go check out Find, all of you, especially the marketers out there. It's a great tool. I'm yet to get a demo from a person I know who works for Find. But yeah, I mean, great tool.
Along with the abundance book, I need to book an appointment too. So I'm taking notes.
What next? What's your sequel?
I've been fortunate to have worked with great organizations, had so many learnings, but some of this in that way, in that sense, needs to go back to to society and to community. I want to give back, and that's one of the reasons why I moved out of a retail role and into a SaaS organization, because the impact that I want to create is at a larger market level and not just at an organization level. And I think with that purpose, I think I'm seeing the next many decades plan out, that I'm able to kind of keep going with the same vigor, with the same energy, passion, keep traveling, meeting people, but at the same time enable industries to really change the paradigm. We've worked for hundreds of years in the same ways, and if we are able to bring modern thinking, modern ways of working to the new organizations or new age organizations, and it's not just operations or finance, but the way people are recruited, the way people are managed through their entire life cycle at an organization, to the way we market, to the way we procure product. There is an opportunity to impact all of these, and I'm really deeply passionate about making an impact in that entire space. So hoping that we are able to kind of do something good in that space, and that's going to be my focus.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Dharam. It was a pleasure to catch up with you behind Marketing Lines.
Thank you, Z. Thank you very much. You've been very kind with your words always. It's always a pleasure to meet you. I love your energy, and you're always there. Every time we've spoken, you've always made time. You've been kind with, of course, I still need to reach out to you for taking an appointment, but I think other than that, you've always been around. You kind of are doing a great show, and thank you for having me, and wishing you lots of success and good fortune coming your way. Please keep doing the hard work that you're already putting in, and thank you for having me once again.
Thank you so much. I think this is the episode that we are going to conclude on a very, very positive note. Thank you very much, Dharam, for gracing this, and thank you for tuning in to Behind Marketing Lines. We'll see you in the next episode.